Welcome to the Retrieving Catholicity podcast, where we think about life and ministry in light of the whole truth with the whole church for the whole world.
All right, welcome into another episode of Retrieving Catholicity. Kenny is still with us. Kenny, how you doing, man?
Doing good. You
know, people loved the last episode so much, they said if you don't get him back on, we're gonna unsubscribe, we're gonna unfollow, we're gonna leave we're gonna spam you with bad reviews. So I had to get another episode in with you, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
So this episode is going to be dropping on Easter week. Okay, so it'll be dropping during Holy Week, and I just wanted to take a little bit of time to acknowledge something kind of obvious that I'm not sure it's obvious. Okay, and let me make the thing obvious that I don't know if it's obvious or not. If you celebrate Easter, you care about the Catholicity of the church. Even if you wouldn't use that language, okay? I suppose there are some of our extremely committed regulative principle folks who just have Lord's Day Sunday, no Easter, no Christmas, no whatever. I don't think that's a lot of people. And I don't say that insultingly. It's not a ton of people. I think most evangelicals in evangelical spaces across denominations generally celebrate Christmas and Easter. Right. And so when we celebrate something like Easter, when we're doing it and how we're doing it is shaped by the historic church. Right. These are practices that the church has adopted and instituted formally and then kind of informally in our spaces, but still very, very powerfully so, right? I don't think we're in danger of not observing Easter as a people. But I would say that if you care about Easter, you care about the Catholicity of the church. Would you agree with that?
Depends. What do you mean by that?
Oh, that's good. That's good. You're getting too good at the podcast. Okay. I think it means you care about the universal connectedness of the church, and you care about the fact that the whole church is doing something, and you're a part of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think you see it with Easter, and I think you see it with Advent. Evangelicals love Advent.
Yeah.
But I think non-Christians love Advent. Have you noticed this?
What do you mean?
There's Advent calendars everywhere you look.
Yeah, that is true.
There are Advent calendars for baseball cards. I got one of those.
Okay.
There's Advent calendars for whiskeys. I did not get one of those.
Oh,
Baptist
interesting.
Church. There's Advent calendars for everything.
Yeah.
Princesses.
Yep.
I got one of those because I have two girls at home. But I do think there's, in terms of Easter and like Advent, do you think the observation of Easter is getting more and more like historically rooted? Do you think the Holy Week itself, like Good Friday, Maundy Thursday, different like days of that week, do you think that's something people are more interested in?
I would say so. I think from the churches I've been to, they have added more to the week. It was usually just Good Friday. And then now we have Thursday and Saturday. And, the whole week is Palm Sunday, right? And then Palm Sunday starts, and then every day there seems to be something now. And I think it's beautiful because in my experience and what I've seen is that it helps people focus on Easter. It leads people there. One of the worst feelings I always think about is when Christmas comes. If I'm not listening to Christmas music in October, after Halloween, I feel like Christmas just came and went. And so I think the beauty in starting early, like you mentioned, Advent, allows our spirits to start to think about God.
Yeah, I agree. And with Advent too, this has happened since you've not been here. So I don't know if your absence has made it easier for me to think about things, but
probably.
I want to reclaim Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to bring it back. I want to reclaim Christmas tide for evangelicals like we do Advent. I want to make Advent even more like Lent, and then I want to make Christmas like 12 days of just jubilation and festivity. Like how awesome would that be? Like if you're like, your Christian coworkers were still in Christmas mode and not just despondent that Christmas was over.
Yeah.
All the way up till my birthday, January 5th.
Oh yeah, then
that's why I want to do it. I want my birthday to be at the end of this giant feast that the whole church celebrates. No, I'm just kidding. But I do think there's some value in like retrieving Christmas tide in the same way that we have Advent. So you talk about like services, maybe a Monday, Thursday service, a Good Friday service. At Resurrection, we'll have a Good Friday service, but that will be the only like additional service. And it's probably going to be a little bit better attended than Christmas Eve. Both of those are smaller for us. I see churches have like these big Christmas Eve services, and it's like Easter for them.
Yes.
And it blows me away. Because I don't know how it happened. I'm just like, we get like half of the people we normally get but I think it's also because I'm not trying to crush our team to put together a massive production, right? We're also not canceling church on Christmas, so
yeah, that's true.
That relates to it.
Yeah.
When do you think it's okay to cancel church, by the way, Kenny?
Never.
Seriously, never?
No.
What about weather? I know you're in the desert now, so
yeah.
Do you think it's okay to cancel church if it ices and snows and you can't get there?
I think there is, talking about where my family are serving or have served before.
Yeah.
And now, given the current events of what's going on,
yeah,
there's definitely, I think, real concern for if you're pastoring a church and the livelihoods of your sheep are at risk.
Yeah.
There is some wisdom and discernment in that. Okay, maybe this time we don't meet for this reason. But all that to say is that I hope you hear like that's an exception.
Yes.
There are many folks that are in persecuted areas that continue to meet, and their livelihood is at risk.
Yeah. But those circumstances won't change.
But those won't change.
Yeah.
So I guess, to answer your question, I would say never, unless, supernatural things were happening.
I think so too, because there's always, and I thought about doing like a full episode on this, but I think it fits better just as we're talking about like holy days and holidays and normal Sundays and like the relationship between these things. COVID launched a lot of debate about when did you cancel church or not cancel church. And we had all kinds of different answers. And I don't want to relitigate that at all. Some people want like they keep names and want to like, you said this 6 years ago. I was like, well, I don't know. I said
got the
6 years ago.
receipts.
It's like, I hope 6 years from now, I'm holier than I am now. And, there's things I regret saying now that I don't know I regret saying them, or else I wouldn't say them, but that's inevitable as well. But I do think like when the weather hits, and there's always a debate over that Sunday between Christmas and New Year's, like a lot of churches will take off. And I am pretty like dogmatically against canceling that service because I think it reflects a lack of a theological approach to what's actually happening at Christmas. I want to reclaim Christmas. Part of that's reclaiming that Sunday.
Yeah.
And so in other words, I think what you do on that week, it tells the culture more than how big your Christmas Eve service is. Because listen, we're here for a feast. And at the center of that feast is Christ the King. And so Christmas Eve is beginning that. Christmas morning is bang, there it is. And then we're continuing that for some time. But then people are like, well, if you cancel for this reason, I think like everyone often needs to just take a deep breath. I think at times we can be legalistic in ways that are unhelpful. We can read laws into things that aren't like a law in that way.
Right.
If that makes sense. That we're being under the gospel, we are compelled to gather weekly. Christians have historically done that on Sunday. That has historically been the Christian Sabbath day set unto the Lord. And so this is for man's good and for God's glory. And so if there's a time where it's physically unsafe to meet there, and that can change. In other words, the roads can be cleared, whatever, the danger can pass, the whatever, then it's not unwise to say with discernment and prayer, we will not gather today, trusting that we will as soon as those circumstances change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. I agree.
Because I think you can be legalistic. Well, we're going to do it no matter what. Well, okay, everyone dies. I mean, it's not worth it. I understand there's a bunch of different approaches, but I think that we need people, in my opinion, who are very theologically minded, who are also like, let's consider each day in its circumstance. But enough about canceling church.
What else we got?
I think, I agree. I think we've seen more and more evangelical churches caring about things like Good Friday, Monday, Thursday. And I think Easter presents huge opportunities for us. We're doing it with the whole church. The whole church is observing Easter. It's an act of Catholicity when we're doing that. Not only are we doing it with the whole church, but we're focusing on what Paul would say in 1 Corinthians 15 is these things which are of first importance.
Right.
That according to the scriptures, Christ died, was buried, he rose from the dead, etc. What opportunity does this Easter 2026 provide for our brothers and sisters who are watching this this video or listening to this podcast?
Yeah, I feel like for myself, I mean, I've been in seasons like this where maybe you're in a dry season. The gospel doesn't speak to you.
Yeah.
Easter would be a perfect time to come back. If you've been away, if you've been apathetic, or maybe you're just really struggling with what does it mean to be a Christian and to have the Christian life, Easter would be a great way to jump back in and see again the beauty of Christ.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that for any of my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And then also for those that are doing well, this would be a great time for them to continue to further that fire that that they have for Christ. So for that, for those reasons, that's I feel like would be a great time to come back.
I think there's a lot of opportunity on Easter and some dangers as well, and I'll talk about both of those here. I think the opportunity is like just go to church. Just go to church. No matter what, go to church. Don't watch church that day online. Go. And then let that lead you into a habit of going, right? This is more for people who are excited about Easter, who are at church a lot. This is what I would say. Let all the accessories remind you of the substance to which they point, right? Don't get like, we have the iconoclastic Reformed spirit sometimes, like, oh, get rid of it all, get rid of it all, just burn it down. But then it's like, no, wear the suit, wear the dress, wear the hat, put the kids in the cool, beautiful clothes, take the pictures. Do the egg hunts, do all this stuff. But like in all of those things, like remember Christ is risen. Celebrate with Easter joy, So it's not don't accessorize at all, but it's accessorize all you want to for the sake of God's glory. And so when all the things happen that go wrong, when you have children, getting them in from one place to another is not a pleasant process usually, right? People will be sick. Nursery will be crowded. Preschool will be crowded. Res kids, volunteers will miss the sermon. Not that that's anything to write home about, of course. But the sound will be difficult. There'll be more people on the stage. There will be a lot of people there. Sometimes you want Easter to be like where everyone sings loudly, but you find there's a lot of guests there. And the guests don't sing like members do, right? So in other words, if you can put expectations like, oh, there's going to be all like several hundred more people there or a few hundred more people there, and it's going to be like this, then all these things that begin to happen that are challenging can knock you off course a little bit. And you can be like, oh, I wanted this perfect thing where we had our clothes on. Like, well, you'll have your clothes on.
Yes.
If you go to church. Put clothes on. But we have our dresses on. Everyone's happy. But then the kids are crying. The volunteers are stressed. The air conditioner doesn't work. I mean, you name the thing that could happen. And then all of those things are tempted to like knock us off course. And like when those things come, like how can you intentionally remind yourself the tomb is empty. Death is dead. We are in a resurrection reality now. So let Easter Sunday be like a way to say, let's accessorize, let's do all the things. This is mostly for Christians, obviously, who are already excited about Easter. Do all this stuff, but let all that stuff point you back to the empty tomb. Let all of it remind you that your sin has been defeated, your sin has been paid for, that death is dead, and we are alive now forevermore in Christ, and that is our ultimate reality. So don't let those things distract you. Let those things point you to it, and then don't put unrealistic expectations on the day. I also want to say a word to, I don't know how many cultural Christians listen to a podcast called Retrieving Catholicity, but I'm sure it could, a clip or something could end up there. Somebody could send it to them, or maybe you just clicked it for whatever reason, or it's in your feed. There's no shame in being a Christmas and Easter Christian who becomes a devoted Christian. And if people look at you with judgment as you walk in the doors, know that Jesus is not one of those people who look at you with judgment when you walk through those doors. Jesus is not vindictive. Jesus is not apathetic. Jesus is not harsh. His gentleness and kindness is matched only by his strength and power. God desires us to come to repentance. He desires that none should perish. The scriptures are clear. So I don't think you'll have that reception from people at church. I hope you won't. You might somewhere, I don't know. I hope not. But don't let the fear of how others might perceive you showing up on Easter lead you to not show up on Easter. There's no shame in going to church on Easter, just like there's no shame in going to the gym on January 2nd.
Yeah, that's a hot take.
And so, you know why I would say January 2nd, right? Because you got to get the New Year's resolutions.
Yeah. So the resolutions only start on the 2nd. Is that what you're saying?
Like going to the gym on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
People do that.
I mean, that's usually
That's
how
a
it is.
holiday, bro. That's a holiday. You don't work out on holidays. You don't work out on holidays or weekends.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that explains a lot. I think some people are like, oh, that's why you are the way that you are.
I didn't say that.
No, someone told me something like it before. There might be people who think they're too cool at the gym for people who come in January. Oh, it's so crowded, all these people here.
Yeah.
But do you want people to be healthy or not? Or do you just want to take selfies?
Well, there are those.
There's a
those two
spiritual
people
corollary
exist.
to that, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Do you want people to come to faith, or do you just want to have a nice little church service?
Yeah, yeah. Or just that Easter.
I just think
Easter
we get
picture.
it's, and maybe I'll just talk about me, so I don't like unintentionally throw anyone else under the bus. We get so distant from lost people. We forget they exist.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, like I disagree with like whatever it takes to reach people mentality. I think we're still bound by the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the means really matter. But I respect people who are like, I just want people to come to faith, man.
Yeah.
I just want to get them in church. Like I've got a lot of respect for brothers and sisters who have that approach, because I think it's lacking sometimes in my life. That I can be like, let's build a healthy church, let's build a deep, let's whatever. That like some of that rugged, like I want to do whatever it takes to reach people. We talked in your episode about your story. Like those guys like went out of their way to pursue you. You know.
Yeah.
And so I hope Easter is an opportunity for that. So that's an opportunity for Christians, or like lapsed Christians. That's not a theologically great term, but you get what I'm saying. Opportunities for non-Christians, I think, are similar. Like people say people are more open to invites around Easter. So if you get nothing else from this video, invite someone to church. Like do it right now. Pause the video. Find out who you should, like text someone, Facebook message someone. What's the worst they can do? Say no.
Right.
We're so scared of rejection, but I think I want to have like a prodding, like invite people to your church this Sunday. Do it right now. It's probably Thursday when you're watching this. Maybe you're watching it later, but like invite people.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add to that if you have friends and family in your life, they probably know that this season is Easter. Easter is coming up.
Yeah.
And so in many ways, they're probably, if you have faithfully shared with them, showed them that you are a Christian, there's almost on their end an expectation of like, oh, so-and-so is going to invite me to church this week. Yeah. And if that doesn't happen, in a similar, kind of similar way for Christmas as well, if that doesn't happen, there is a sense of like, oh, okay, like maybe Easter isn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
maybe they're not as serious about this as I thought they were.
Or that.
I do think like it provides for non-believers, it provides the thing that gets you to bring up the thing.
100%.
Because we're always looking for that. People love to bash like relational evangelism, lifestyle evangelism. Like, no, you got to share. Like, yes, but you also need like relational context to be credible. So like as you're building credibility, you have to also be looking for intentional ways of talking about Jesus, his life, his death, his resurrection, and why it matters. And like Easter is a perfect opportunity to do that, because there will be other new people at church. You can have the conversation. You don't have to bring them to church. You can be like, hey, our church is celebrating Easter. This is what that means. Or, it's Easter. Like, I'm a Christian. This is what Easter is all about, et cetera. Like it provides it puts the ball on the tee and helps us hit it. So in other words, if you've got someone in your life you've been praying for, it's man, we're gearing up for Easter. It's a big deal, but this is why it's a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it's interesting in some ways, depending on your context and where you're at. So this past week, the Eid was celebrated amongst many of our Muslim friends.
Yep.
And for them, they are just so joyous and so inclusive about Eid. And in some ways, I look at them and I feel convicted, even for me, when it comes to holidays that I know, like Christmas, Easter specifically, like there's a reason to celebrate, a reason to tell people, yet, in those moments, I feel the fear of rejection or the fear of man.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's something, with, my friends and across a different faith, they really show me that if you believe in something, show it.
Yeah, your knowledge of what they're doing rises from their observation of it, and they can explain to you what's happening. So as Christians, we have the opportunity to say, "Hey, we're doing this thing, and we want to share that joy with you, and this is how we share that joy with you." Right? That Jesus is really lived, he really died, he really rose again. I think, man, and this is the last thing I would say in terms of opportunities for evangelism. It just it gets us to the resurrection. It just gets us there, because that's where the bottom line is. When we were in Bristol, England, and I was giving a bunch of talks on how Jesus fulfills our deepest longings each night. And the apologetics question that just kept coming up that I kept seizing on was what do you do with Jesus? And is he resurrected or not? And I could tell there were several Muslim students there who were watching it, and there was Q&A after, and I think I know which ones were coming from Muslim students, because it's listen, if Jesus is resurrected, then everything changes. And if everything changes, if everything's going to change, I need to be as sure as I can be that Jesus is resurrected. Can you prove this? And I would say, no, I can't prove anything. If you want me to prove it to you, I can't coerce you into believing anything. But the same source data that is the best source data, the most well-attested book of antiquity that tells us Jesus lived, it's the foundation on which scholars agree Jesus lived. Yes, Jesus is attested in extra biblical literature as well. But the best sources we have about Jesus are in the Bible, right? The best sources we have tell us he lived. The best sources we have, as well as common sense, natural law, tell us he died. Then those same best sources tell us he rose from the dead.
Right.
Okay? That's the first thing you guys say. Then there's secondary things, right? The first people to witness him and proclaim his resurrection are women. If you're making up a story, why would you have women being the first to see the tomb in the first century where they would have no legal standing? But more compelling to me is just the existence of the church. Jesus is not the only messianic figure in the history of the Jewish people. He's not the only person who had a following in the history of the Jewish people. Other people maybe even had bigger followings, right? And if you see the gospel accounts of his disciples before he dies, they're failures.
Yep.
Judas has betrayed him. Peter has betrayed him in a different way, but not that different of a way, by the way, right? Repentance and sorrow are two different things. One, repentance that leads to repentance is restorative, and we see Jesus bringing Peter back into the fold. Judas goes the opposite way. The disciples are cowardly. They're hidden. The movement's over. They're next if they go out in public. So how do you account for the fact that these young men of no major social standing, by the way, are scattered and failures at this point? What changes?
Right. How
do they come back together and then start this movement that's going to last for 2,000 years in the way that the church has? So I think there are questions there of something materially changed. Why does the Apostle Paul write to the church of Corinth, go to Jerusalem and just start asking around? I go ask the brothers and sisters. He was really here. He really lived. We saw him after his resurrection, Jesus. And so I would tell the students, I can't force you to believe this. I can't prove it. But I'm telling you, it seems nonsensical on its face. But if God can create all things from nothing, God can rise from the dead. And if Jesus is who he says he is, you got a lot to think about, brother.
Yeah.
Friend, I guess would be a better word. You got a lot to think about, friend. And just seeing that, oh, I got to reckon with this. You know? And so Easter is an opportunity to get us to the resurrection. And I think that's a fitting way to close. Easter is an expression of the Catholicity of the church. The whole church is celebrating this thing of most importance. It's an opportunity for Christians to recommit to the church, to let all the accessories point us to the real thing, right? We all have the danger of getting sidetracked and distracted by all we got to do. No, man, let it be. Let it be. Just let the main thing be the main thing. And it's an opportunity for non-believers to say, hey, I'm going to think about, do I believe Jesus was resurrected? And for Christians, we got to get in those conversations because God is leading us to those conversations.
100%.
Well, I'm glad you'll be in the U.S. for Easter. I wish you'd be here, but
yeah,
maybe you can drive here.
Maybe, just me.
Maybe.
Leave the kids.
No, if kids aren't coming, we don't want you here.
Fair.
All right, Kenny, thanks for joining us, bro.
Glad to be here.
Chopping it up about Easter.
Of course.
I hope you and your family and your church have a blessed Easter. And I hope you, listener, watcher, viewer, etc. I hope if you're a non-Christian, you'll consider the resurrection. If you're a Christian, I hope you'll be talking a lot about the resurrection. And I hope we will enjoy this celebration with the whole church as we remember again this year that death is really dead, Jesus is really risen, and everything is really changed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, rate, review, etc., etc. See ya.